Why isn't anybody talking about the secret handshake in Southern Oregon? The one that gets you into all the hot spots, the one that gets you all the big discounts at all the local stores, the one that makes you look super cool in front of all your friends, makes you look and feel like a local, probably because it doesn't actually exist. But you can imagine what it'd be like if it did, right? I've lived over here for over 30 years in Southern Oregon, and so if there was some sort of secret handshake, I'm pretty sure I'd know about it. And so since I can't tell you about that in this video, I am going to tell you about a lot of other really cool things that you do need to do before you move to Southern Oregon, and one of those things being the secret spot that you can find all of the dirty secrets and all the dirt and gossip about Southern Oregon that you absolutely have to know before moving here. So I know you want to get into that list and get to that last item that I'm going to share with you at the end of the video. So why don't we just go ahead and cut right to the chase and start with number one. So first and foremost, the number one thing you need to do is to come and visit, okay? Get actually here to Southern Oregon, get your feet on the ground and check it out. You need to know what the area looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like. I mean, what if you came here and it smelled terrible to you and you hated, you know, the smell of good smelling mountain air? I mean, it could happen, right? But you gotta actually come here and experience it. See what the people are like. See what it's like to go grocery shopping here, and what it's like to interact with the locals, and what it's like to go out to dinner, and what the traffic's like, and what the sunsets are like, and what the sunrises are like if you want to get up that early. But whatever, I mean, you just gotta get here and experience it, okay? That's one of the most important things that I always tell people that I'm working with, is that you have to actually get your feet on the ground and be here. It's kind of like test driving a car. I mean, everybody's very familiar with that. You're gonna go down to the car dealership and hop on in, and you're gonna go for a spin and see if you like the thing or not. You gotta do the same thing before you move to an area, obviously. I mean, you're gonna spend hundreds of thousands of dollars probably on a home. You gotta know that the area that you're moving to is somewhere that you could actually enjoy yourself and see yourself living. So highly, highly recommend that first thing being that you have to come visit Southern Oregon. Number two is you have to just get your shit together, okay? I mean, get your stuff together, sorry. What I mean by that is, do you have a job currently, right? Are you able to transfer to somewhere up here? Are you able to work remotely up here? Does your boss know that? Are they on board with that? Have they approved that, all right? Do you have a home where you're currently living? I would assume you have a home, but do you own your home? Do you need to sell that home before you can move here? What things need to happen, right? Do you have kids? Are you gonna bring them with you? If so, then, you know, what's the school situation like up here? What about sports or whatever, you know, things that they're really, really into? Can they do those things here? Is this a good fit for them? Do you know anybody here? I mean, are you gonna be completely isolated when you move up here? Are you okay with that? Are you good at making friends? You know, all those things I think are things that you need to think about when it comes to really like getting your stuff together and getting a plan, all right? So it's basically like doing a feasibility study and thinking through all these different aspects of your life and trying to figure out, does it make sense for us to move to Southern Oregon? What would our life be like if we moved to Southern Oregon? Could it work? Is it too far from our family? Is it close enough to the airport to where we can fly and visit our family? You know, whatever the case is, I think that you really need to just do that feasibility study, because the last thing in the world you want is to make this big move up here and then have your friends come track you down, throw you in their car, drag you back home, lock you up in their garden shed or something, and make sure that they can never leave you again, right? You don't want to have that type of situation happen. So make sure that you do a little feasibility study and that this is something that you can actually do and something that you want to do and that all of the invested parties are on board with. Next up is you need to find a good realtor before you move to Southern Oregon, okay? A good realtor in Southern Oregon is very important to have, because you need to be working with somebody who knows the area very well, okay? It's a big area here in Southern Oregon. If you look at Jackson and Josephine counties combined, which is the area I always refer to when I'm talking about Southern Oregon, it's 4,444, that's a lot of fours, square miles in size. That's huge. That's bigger than Delaware and Rhode Island combined, okay? And so we have 300,000 people across an area that big. So you have to find an agent who knows that whole area, okay? Because when you're dealing with an area so large, there's all sorts of different little pockets that exist that might be a great fit for the type of home and property that you want to have, right? So if you want a little, 1 acre parcel with a cute little house on it where you can have a garden and, fenced yard for the dog and the kids to play, that exists in a lot of different places around here. So you need to have somebody who can suggest, these different areas to you based on your price point and all these sorts of things, and be able to recommend the right place for you to look. It's also important to ensure that they know the market, okay? They need to know the seasonality of the market here in Southern Oregon. They need to know, when it's the hot time for buying and selling. When are you going to run into more competition as a buyer? And when do you have, a little bit more leverage to be able to maybe offer a little bit lower, okay? They need to also understand, and have experience with doing transactions, okay? So I always caution people, an experienced agent is one who's done a lot of transactions, not has done a lot of years, okay? You could have an agent who's 30 years in the business and they do 3 deals a year because it's just kind of a side gig for them. Whereas, you have somebody like myself who's a full-timer who does 30 to 40 transactions a year, who knows, with experience, I've been through a lot of situations and those sorts of things. So find an agent who's been through a lot of those different types of situations, who knows how to really operate and work on your behalf, and put that experience to work for you, okay? Just being in the industry for a long period of time doesn't give you a lot of experience in terms of things that are going to be beneficial to you as a buyer or seller of real estate, okay? Make sure that the agent really knows the type of property that you're looking for really, really well, okay? And what I mean by that is there's a huge difference in looking at, a rural ranch property that has water rights and irrigation and, all that type of stuff, pasture land, and the rules around being able to have livestock and, chickens and pigs and all that kind of stuff. That's so different than buying new construction, which is very different than buying an investment property. And so what I really would encourage you is to, when you're talking to agents, make sure that the agent you decide to work with is one who has experience dealing with all of those things, right? Because it would be a shame to have somebody tell you, yeah, you can plant a 2-acre garden of corn. Maybe you guys really love corn. You're gonna have 2 acres worth of corn here, and of course you can water it. But it turns out you didn't actually have the property with the proper zoning, the proper water rights, and all those sorts of things to plant and irrigate that 2 acres of corn. That's the most random example I can come up with. Anyways, you want to know that the person that's advising you is actually capable of advising you. So make sure you ask those questions of the agents that you're interviewing and ensure that they know the type of property that you're after. And of course, I'll throw it out there to you. If you haven't caught on at the moment, I am Brian Simmons with the Buying Southern Oregon Real Estate team here with eXp Realty in Southern Oregon. And so of course, I'm a realtor. I would love to help you if you have questions. Don't hesitate to reach out. My number is on the screen right now, or you can email me, and the email is in the description of this video. Next thing you need to do is just do a big search for properties, okay? There's so many websites out there that you can check out that will give you, all the ability to plug in the information that you're looking for, the type of house you're looking for, size of property, price, bedrooms, whatever, all of the details, plug it in, do some searching, and see if you can find any examples across Jackson and Josephine counties. I would say cast a wide net. Even if you think you're looking at only Eagle Point, okay, cast that wide net so you can see what else is available across Southern Oregon, at least to just get the perspective of pricing in different cities and all those sorts of things. Okay, it's very important to do. So really, you need to start searching for properties. Look at all the different areas, look at all the different types of properties, and just get a sense of are there homes that are popping up that I could live in? That really excite you, that you could see yourself and your family living in, okay? Do those exist here? Or are you seeing everything in your price range is a total dumpster that you have no interest in ever living in, okay? That's okay if that's the case. You should just know that prior to trying to move here, prior to trying to do a trip here, and all that sort of stuff. You can find all that out just by doing some searching online. So I really encourage you, online search, look at homes, look all across Southern Oregon, and you'll be able to see, maybe you thought you wanted to move to Eagle Point, but you started to see houses in Grants Pass and they had a little bit more space and they're a little bit nicer for the money, and maybe that seems like that's a better fit for you. But you can find all that out just by doing a little bit of online searching. Highly recommend that you have to do that before you move to Southern Oregon. We're almost to the last one that I know you're super interested in, which is the secret place to get all the dirt on all the bad things about Southern Oregon. I'm going to tell you that here in just a second. But before we do that, the last one you need to know about is that you got to run the numbers, okay? Figure out, what you spend in a normal month in your city where you live currently, and see how that translates to the cost of living here, all right? There's a lot of really, really fantastic tools online. I really like the one called bestplaces.net. You go on there, you plug in your city, you plug in Medford, Oregon, or Grants Pass, Oregon, wherever it is that you're kind of targeting. And then it'll tell you based on your income and this sort of stuff, here's kind of the difference, right? And for most places, especially if you're on the West Coast, you're gonna see that Medford is significantly, in Grants Pass even more so, are both a lot less money than most places on the West Coast. We're only 6% above the national average, and there's so many places across the West Coast that are 50% above the national average, 100% above the national average, and all that kind of stuff. So definitely run those numbers. Think about what would you be making if you were to transfer in your job up to Southern Oregon, or down to Southern Oregon, or across to Southern, wherever you're coming from. But think about that, right? What would that look like, okay? What would it look like if your property taxes were less money than they are currently? What would it look like if all those expenses were just less, right? If transportation costs were less, what would all that look like to you? Or maybe they're more, who knows? But the number crunching is a very, very critical thing that I really encourage you to do. Look at, what $450,000 house in Southern Oregon, or whatever price range you're looking at. Look at that, look at, what are the property taxes? And I'm happy to look into that for you if you would like. Just reach out to me and I can plug in, the city that you want and find some examples of homes, tell you what the property taxes might be, and we could start to kind of crunch some numbers that way. Happy to help with that, but you definitely should do it before you move here, okay? So that's what this list is. Do that before you move to Southern Oregon, 100%, and you will be very happy you did. Now, the one that you have been waiting for, okay? You do need to do all of the research that you can possibly do to get all the dirt and all the secrets on moving to Southern Oregon, and there's only one place that I know of where you could find that, and the good news is that you actually already found it, okay? And that's right here on the Buying Southern Oregon YouTube channel. I have a lot of really great videos that are all about, the pros and cons of living in Ashland, Oregon, or Medford, Oregon, or Grants Pass, Oregon, or whatever, or my 5 things I hate about Ashland. I don't know if I've made that video yet, but maybe it's 6 things or whatever it was. I made one similar. Anyways, there's a lot of videos on this channel that are all about the dirt, right? The bad things about Southern Oregon. You're not gonna find those really anywhere else. For whatever reason, people just want to hide that, but it's important for you to be able to get that information. And one of the videos I did is right here that's all about the worst parts of Southern Oregon. I think you'll really, really enjoy that. It's actually been seen by more people than any other video on my channel. It's a great one. Again, I'm Brian Simmons with the Buying Southern Oregon real estate team here in Southern Oregon. If there's anything I can do to help you learn about or list real estate, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching.